to the Mount Vernon Square, Museum Square project, and I've had the opportunity to work with some of those tenants, and the thing that really blew me away about it was when I found out that the actual valuation of the building for the Museum Square and Mount Vernon Square are next to each other, so I always get them confused, but I'm pretty sure it's the Museum Square, was $36 million. So forget the fact that they were trying to say it was worth $250 million. From the point of view of the District of Columbia, that's no money, right? But the people who live in there, they're low-income tenants, so if they had the right to buy their building, they most likely wouldn't be able to put together the funding to even do it. But there is something called the District Opportunity to Purchase Act, where in that case, where if tenants can't buy their own building, the district also gets the opportunity to buy the building. So for $36 million, you could buy it, you could renovate it, you could rent it out to people. And in an area that's rapidly rising in terms of cost of living, incomes, rents, and so on and so forth, you could maintain an affordable building and, not kick a bunch of people out who are, many of them are immigrants from China, they don't necessarily speak good English, some of them have disabilities. I mean, it would be difficult for them to actually go somewhere else and find housing. Not only that's inexpensive, but to even navigate the whole process. So the district could do this. I mean, the district is getting ready to give $150 million to soccer stadium developers who have all of their own money. I mean, one of the guys is the son of the richest man in Indonesia. Their overall group also now owns Inter Milan. And if you know anything about soccer, football worldwide, this is one of the biggest, most profitable, most well-known brands in all of international soccer. And you're telling me that these people, with their connections, right, can't find $150 million in financing like that? I mean, it's absurd. It's obviously untrue. But the reality of it is the way they look at it in the mayor's office, the way they look at it at the council, the city government is like an ATM machine for big time developers. And anything they want, they say, well, who can we find and who can we give away tax dollars to get them to come to the District of Columbia? And so it doesn't even really matter to some degree. I mean, it's not just one section of people who are affected by this. And that's why we're building up this coalition. I mean, I met someone the other day making like $60,000 a year who was talking to me about some of the trouble they're having renting apartments. Now, not renting any apartment, but renting an apartment where they would like to live. I had another conversation with someone who lived maybe like 20 minutes from a metro, and I remember what they said to me. She's a college-educated person working full-time. And she said, because I'm canvassing and I say, well, do you have any questions? I'm here, so if you want to ask anything, why don't you ask me? And she's like, well, I do have one question. What can we do about affordable housing? Because all of my friends tell me that I'll never be able to live close to a metro and that there's just nothing you can do about it. And so I went on to tell her some things that could be done, but when I was walking away from there, it was just so striking, and I always think about it, how it had become the impossible dream for a college-educated person with a full-time job to live close to a metro. I mean, how insane is that? Where the only people who can live close to a metro are people who are like millionaire lobbyists or something like that. I mean, it's not that bad yet, but the point being that not only is it getting bad, is that people don't even think there's anything that can be done. They just think that's the way it is and that they have to accept how it is. They have to accept the status quo. And I think part of the reason why we've been able to build a broad, strong, deep coalition around this campaign is that we're saying, no, you don't have to do this. There are alternatives. Some of them are basic common sense alternatives. I mean, for example, every new complex that goes up, housing complex, you have to have a certain amount of affordable housing in there. But the way we measure affordable housing is a measure that takes into account Fairfax County, Montgomery County, all these super rich counties, instead of a number that is also produced by HUD, that's basically just DC, that would drop everything down about $20,000, about a $20,000 difference, which means that when they were building these affordable units, they would start to really be available to the people with the greatest need. So you're working from the greatest need out, which makes the most sense, right? What do you want to do? You want to keep people from going on the streets and having nothing else to do. So this is basic common sense stuff that you could do with a stroke of a pen that for some reason the people in district government don't have any interest in. But I always also say, politics, policies, they don't come out of nowhere. They don't just drop out of the sky. There are people who promote them, and they are very powerful. They're institutions, they're individuals, they have money, they have influence, and they lobby the council. They donate to political campaigns. They bring their friends to fundraisers and bundle unbelievable amounts of money and call people in other states and have them donate money. And also, and this is key in the McMillan Park piece, there's the revolving door. I mean, the district government is a place where people are taking taxpayer-funded jobs, working for the mayor, by and large, working in DemPed a lot of times, and then they're going right back out and getting in some private sector job and turning around and lobbying their friends